Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the plot. It feels so good to be able to say that today. It's a lovely sunny day. It doesn't feel like the middle of winter whatsoever. It's about 8 degrees, very warm. As you know, it's been a little while since I've been up the plot. It's nothing like when I left it alone for a full month, but it is looking a little bit sorry for itself. So I think what we'll do today is we'll kind of go first person, like the old summer plot tours that I used to do all the time. And we'll just kind of talk about it as I go around. We'll find lots of odd jobs, and there's a few things that I want to talk about as well. A few little plans for the summer and kind of what's going to come in the future. So hope you enjoy. There is no shortage of odd jobs, let me tell you that. Okay, so let's go and have a look. I'll start as I normally do, it's sort of tradition now, with this top salad bed. This is where I grew most of the salads. Tried some onions, they kind of succumbed to onion white rot. Didn't do so well, and all that's in here now is a couple of leeks and a few spring onions, but they're really doing very little at all. So I'm kind of tempted to dig this all over. I think I'll leave the spring onions in just in case they come back. They're still surviving, they're alive, so hopefully they'll kind of start to flourish at some point. The only bad thing about this bed is that something has enjoyed starting to use it as a toilet. So I'm going to try and cover up the bits that aren't in use just with some cardboard. Maybe I think I'll put some composting cardboard on, no dig style. And even if it doesn't all break down and end up integrated, that's fine, because it'll stop things using it as a toilet, and I can take the cardboard out when I need to plant into it if it's not fully broken down. Over on this bed, this is where we've got the kale and the spinach, which actually has kind of come back and is doing okay. I think the plan for this, I'm pretty much going to leave it for now. I think it should be okay as it is. Nothing's using it as a toilet, which is good. Kale's still harvesting from it. The kale's okay. I don't mind kale. The only issue is that despite being next to the feverfew, which is meant to be really good for whitefly, this stuff has been attacked quite badly by whitefly. Hopefully you can see that on there, just by my thumb. Some of the leaves are absolutely infested. This top stuff doesn't seem so bad. It's mostly the stuff that I've removed. But, here we go. Here's one where you can kind of see a good example of the whitefly, which isn't ideal. You can still use it, but it takes a lot of cleaning, takes a lot of time, so not great. Probably should have kept those sprayed with neem oil, but it does go to show the feverfew plant that was just in here didn't do much to deter them, so that's not great. Also, surprisingly, you might remember, if you've been watching for a long time, you might just be able to pick out there's some little seedlings in here, and they are the garlic chives. I put a little line in here of garlic chive, and there's kind of a mixture of garlic chive and grass in here, but this never grew up, never really knew what was happening with it, so I kind of gave up on it, but it's come back, it's still there. So maybe that will come back this year as well. Not sure. Third bed, still absolutely chock-a-block with leeks. I've kind of left them in hoping they would bulk out a little bit over winter, and they haven't really done anything. So I think it's time to start getting these up and getting them used. They're pretty small, so it's probably a good thing, because otherwise we'd be eating leeks for absolutely weeks and weeks. This little patch of cabbages, not too successful. I didn't net them, never got around to that. So it's become food for the pigeons and the birds, but I don't really mind that. This little patch, I'm probably gonna dig in some compost, cover it over. This one's still covered, and over here we've got a bit of a sad story with the purple sprouting broccoli. Loads of them have blown over, and I'm not sure exactly what has caused it. I don't know if it's a problem with their roots, because hopefully you can see there's the roots, and they've kind of, it looks like the plant has died as opposed to being blown over. I don't know, I wouldn't have expected the roots to kind of break so easily. The same is true of this one over here, just in there. Hopefully you can see it's the same thing. The roots just completely snapped off. So I'm not too sure exactly what's happened with these. We've lost 2 plants. This third one was just starting to go when I came up a little while ago, so I've put in a load of compost around the base in the hopes that that will kind of, you know, tamp it down and give it a bit more stability. I've come around to the back because you can see slightly easier, but we've got 4 plants here that are still okay. There's one little one on the left, one gigantic one in the middle, another smaller one here, and then this one, which is the one that I've put compost around. You can see it's a bit smaller, but it is starting to flower. A load of flowers in there, which is quite nice to see. So with the sprouting broccoli, this should all start to go properly kind of in a month or 2. We should start to be able to pull out loads of these broccoli shoots, and it should be really nice. I think once they're done, it'll be time to get those out, smash them up and get them in the compost, and then we can use this bed for one of the later crops. I'm not thinking too much about the rest of the plot and what's going to go where. I think that'll come with time. I'll do a little bit of kind of crop rotation, but I'm not worried too much just yet. But I'll talk about that a little bit later, I think. On to the last bed. We have our garlic bed, which hopefully you remember me planting out and creating not very long ago. And the good news is it took a little while. I was starting to get a bit worried, but you can see that pretty much all of our garlic has started to bulb. Bulb? No? Has started to shoot. That's the word, isn't it? It started to shoot. By far the best one is the supermarket garlic right at the end. This was already kind of starting to shoot in the cupboard, which is why I'm guessing it had a bit of a head start. But I think every bulb I've planted, I can just start to see coming up, apart from the elephant garlic, which is in here, which hasn't done anything at all. But this does remind me I need to get the other garlic that I have, the earliest of all, January, spring, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, there's one that's ideal for planting mid-January, so that needs to go in here. Okay, moving away from the beds, this is where it starts to get really messy. The strawberries are doing okay, actually. They could do with maybe a little weed, but they're looking really healthy. These are the alpine ones on the right that are doing very well, and the older ones on the left. But one of the main reasons I came up today is you can see the greenhouse needs a little bit of a repair. We've lost one of the polycarbonate panels from up here, which did blow absolutely miles away, but I did manage to find it, and you can see it inside there. Another thing, the borage has finally had it, unsurprisingly. Not good. We're a little bit worried there's going to be seeds everywhere, but it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But that needs to come up and go in the compost. Greenhouse is still looking pretty tidy and okay. And apart from that polycarbonate, it withstood the storms recently, which is good. The shed. Now, I had a bit of a melodramatic wobble, you could say, a few weeks ago. I came up and the shed was completely soaked inside. Let's go inside. I'll kind of show you around. I've generally tried to hide this from the camera because it's so shocking. So it's very cramped in here, and it's quite difficult for me to show this off, but the shed is a state. And I don't just mean in terms of tidiness, I mean like structurally, right? Like this roof is sagging, there's water damage everywhere. It's a gigantic hole in that wall. Let me show you the floor as well. Now, when I came up the other day in the rain, this floor was just completely soaked. There was water absolutely everywhere. It's caving in. There are certain places you can't stand. You can see a little bit of daylight there coming through, which is not good. And yeah, like I say, a bit of a melodramatic wobble. And I decided I'm going to tear it all down. I was like, I've had enough of this shed. It's coming down. But then I had a cup of tea, had a word with myself and kind of calmed down. And I do think the plan long term, probably best to take this thing down. There'll be a lot that I can recycle and reuse, but it's a massive shed as well. And I've got half a plot. Like, people up here have plots twice the size of mine without a shed, so I could probably cope without one. But yeah, I think maybe next season that might be a job for next season. But something's got to be done about it because it does stress me out. It stresses me out when it's raining, and I kind of think about it, and I worry about what's in there, and I worry that one day I'm going to come down and the whole thing will have just collapsed inwards. So I think it doesn't need to happen right now, but that is a big to-do for the future. Back to the walkabout. This is another thing that I really want to get done this winter. This water butt, I want to get some kind of guttering and downpipe fitted. I'm committing to this on camera. I have to get this done because these water butts, there's one there and one over here that have just kind of been stood redundant, and it would be really nice to actually get them used. And I hate this thing anyway. It's an eyesore, right? And it's been here ruining my camera shots for months and months since I started this channel. So I should get at least some use out of it if I'm going to be annoyed about it. Still got some spent compost down here and just a dumping ground of timbers over here. I do need to build a wood store at home, so I think a lot of these timbers will be going soon, which will be quite cool. Another thing I wanted to talk about is these compost bays. There's a bit of a mad mixture going on here at the moment. These should always be organised. You should always have rotting stuff in one, rotted in the other. At the moment, it's kind of a mixture of both. Not good. Not really got an excuse. I was just busy and it didn't get done. So I think today I'm going to sort those out. Slide, spade, dig, move. Move a load from one into the other, because exciting news, I finally organised a manure delivery. In a couple of weeks, I should be getting some horse manure, which I'm very excited about. So I should be able to get that on the beds. It would have been good if I'd done it, if I'd actually got my arse in gear and done that a few months ago, really. So it had a bit more time to rot down. I've heard the manure is very good quality, but we'll see when it arrives. It might be able to go on the beds. It might need to just wait a little while. But I need to get this ready for today. There's still just everywhere else. There's a load of stuff, but don't worry about it. It's fine. So there we go. There's a little overview of how the plot is looking at the moment, and a few kind of jobs that I need to get done. I think I should probably get rid of some of that broccoli as well, the stuff that's fallen over. I think that's truly done for. Did want to show off this end of the plot. This line that we've kind of got that runs along the back here, it's probably going to stay forsaken for a little while longer. This pile of stuff for the tip feels like it's just going to be here forever. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm not going to stress out getting it all to the tip in my car. It's fine, isn't it? It's fine. I do down here have a load of fire pit stuff that I need to clear up. This is all full of nails and horrible stuff from the timbers. And at the back, another job that I need to get done is pruning back these apple trees. These are a real sorry mess. You can really see, hopefully in winter, just kind of what a mess these are. They don't follow any clear pattern of kind of pruning. There's been no direction here. This one in particular is a real sorry state. It's meant to have a central leader. So you're meant to have a stem that kind of comes up for the middle. This looks like it's on a bit of a dwarf stock. It's only a little tree, but you should still have a central leader, at least up to kind of chest height, you would expect, before it then branched out. And you can see this has just got so many stems coming off that leader. But we'll give it another prune. We'll kind of see what it does. The good news is there's a bit of kind of space in the middle, which is what you want. This one as well, I didn't prune this last year, and I think I'm going to have to take off a couple of major branches because it's the same thing. There's just no space inside this apple tree, and it's just not ideal. You don't want it to get too shady in there. You want it to have space, so there's a lot to take out. Over here as well, I've got this absolute pile of trash, which I really need to do something with. You can see there's a few kind of MDF panels that we pulled out of the old shed that was falling apart when we first moved. There's some guttering here that I always kind of said I would use and still haven't used. Don't hate me. Over here we've just got the grass patch. The kind of loose idea was to turn this into flowery good stuff, naturally wildflowery type thing. And to do that, I'm going to continue just mowing it, removing nutrients for a little while yet. And at the back, we've got our blackberries from last episode. Let's take a little look, see how they're doing. This doesn't look too good. This is the sucker that we replanted. It looks pretty sad, but I'm hoping it will bounce back. We'll find out. I don't know. It was an experiment. And here we've got the one that we tip layered down into here, and we won't know for a long time yet how this is done. The good news is it's still there, it's still in the ground, so that's about the best we can hope for. And another little job, I need to take out this bloomin' cherry, this one. I might do that today, see if I got a saw. So there we go, that brings our update to a close, I think. Just kind of wanted to show you what's going on in the plot in January, or not what's going on, but how it looks. What's going on starts next week, hopefully. First thing I need to do is get that greenhouse panel back in. That's priority number one, and then we can start doing all the other odd jobs. Thank you so much for joining me. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Absolutely lovely day to be out. If you have enjoyed it, you know what to do, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hate asking, but apparently it really helps. So I do. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.